give me a few minutes, a few moments, okay? Alright, let's have a look. Okay. Sorry for the late start, people. It's been one of those days. And we just figure it out as we go along. We all do the best we can, right? I haven't even made the Astro Doodle yet. I'm running really late. Hello, let's see you. Hello, Necessary Truth. I see you there. So, you know what? Let's just say hello. Hello. I don't mean to scare you. Hello, Love Driver. Yeah. Bubba will be around, sure. Hello, Esther. Hi, how are you? I was driving home from the gym that morning when it happened. Oh, I didn't even, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think rubber from the tires blocked it, but many people I know said they saw it. So, who knew? I've heard of, well, it's insulation. It's more about the fact that the tires are inflated. Hello, Mr. Ross. Good evening. Hello, Elizabeth Boucher. I did see that you tried to get in touch, but I've been stuck kind of under the hood of the car and out in the yard and things, so I didn't really hear the phone. Hello, Strings and Things. Yeah. Lina in Argentina got news of the earthquake. Yeah, that was years ago. I remember that very clearly. I was over there at my little home on Venice Beach, California. We were doing our live stream, and then suddenly everything kind of went boom, 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 boom. Yep. Anyway, I've made a few notes. How about this? Let me play one of my songs. You guys check in and chat amongst yourselves while I get the Astro Doodle ready, okay? How does that sound? I think we'll do this. I'm going to play my song called Love is the Word. Okay? It's kind of my face the day, overcome anything type of song. It's sort of like, almost like a warrior's march, you know? Hoo-ah! 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 for the skies. Opening my hands to welcome in the day. Gather in the sun's rays before I'm on my way. And the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole. Casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard. Resonate inside us, love is the word. Moving through the day, pray no accidents arise. Giving thanks to heaven that I am still alive. Blessing my enemies, blessing the ones I love. Praying for forgiveness for any damages I've done. And the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole. Casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard. Resonate inside us, love is the word. Now the day is done and moon is on the rise. My trials and tribulations all bottled up inside. I summon in the numb as I reach up for the skies. I command all fear and shadows be gone before my eyes. And the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole. Casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard. Resonate inside us, love is the word. And the healing vibrations rattle through my soul, shaking out the poisons, making me whole. Casting out diseases by chanting the word. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard. Resonate inside us, love is the word. Alright, I did it. I actually did it. Wow. Okay. So, just for a heads up, people. Oh, wait a minute. How's that? People are checking in. That's good. Thank you. Good evening. Strings and Things, a.k.a. Topaz Zen, in a previous life. Okay, yeah. And then Tina is here. Hello, Tina. Strings and things. TLI money. Yay! It's all the... Okay. Clickety click. All right, just for your awareness. Hello, Maria. Just for your awareness, I have demonetized this show. There's no point in trying to monetize this channel anyway, because it's heavily suppressed. So, to do you guys a favor, I'm going to actually switch off the whole of the monetization system. It's part of the computer algorithm system that YouTube gives me. But I've switched it off. So in theory, if I remember last time, we switched it off and it allowed you guys to view the show without commercials. So please let me know if that still holds true. Victor Galligan, hello. You are a Leo. Welcome, Victor. I had a cousin, Victor. Wonderful fellow. He was a stock car racing champion of Kansas when he was a kid. And then he passed away very young after that. Left behind a wife and 3 kids. Very sad. There you go. Oh, no ads yet. And Elizabeth has donated. Okay, so let's just go check in over here while we're on top of things, and we'll make a note. Okay, so Tina, thank you, and Elizabeth, thank you. Alrighty. Okie dokie. Alright. Jeffrey made it. Oh my god. You're getting closer and closer to testing time. Put Tina last. Okay, no problem. So we'll start over there. We'll see how things go. Alrighty. Alright, let's make up some room here. Cheers. I got a bit of soda. Every now and again I treat myself to a little soda. I feel it doesn't do too much harm. Technically it's poison, but I don't know. I think I get nutritional benefits. Yes, Esther, the gang is all here. And please do not use the word cult. This is not a cult. Even though that's how my channel was destroyed, it's not a cult. We don't do those things here. Okay? None of that creepy stuff. No creepy stuff here, okay? We just do good old-fashioned tarot and mystical astrology. There we go. Welcome, Jeffrey. So let me get back over here. Well, you've probably heard this by now. It's all the rage. Yay. The fun topic of the day. People are starting to figure it out. Fluffles is here as well. Good evening. Some points I would like to make. We've been talking about this for a long time. I made this image about, 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. No. There are some very interesting things going on in the planets, and you know I love to blame the planets for everything. So we'll get to that in just a second. But you've probably noticed by now, big global headlines. The folks over in the Middle East are hard at it. Kaboom, kaboom. Arabs versus Jews. Kaboom, kaboom. They've been itching for a war for a long time. And there's always little external wars, but this is head on now. And there's a lot of probably misinformation going around and all sorts of more or less gossip and reporting. The best thing to do, I think, is just stick to information. And I like to go with there's a place I like to visit where it's a subscription for my news. It's called the Epoch Times. That's one of the many places where I like to visit. Well, the reason I like them is because they're very traditional, very, very, very traditional journalists. And they just report information. And then you can make up your own opinions. They also offer their own opinions, but you don't have to subscribe. Anyway, the big news is that bombs and bullets and drones are flying, and everyone's going, okay, this is very, very, very serious. This is actually the opening stages of World War III. Ooh, this is it. People have been talking about this for a while, like, in the conspiracy press and on the alternative media. But this is starting to get into mainstream, okay? So let's just admit it. Yeah. So, as a kid, I remember being in war. I can remember going back a long, 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 long way. And when I think about it, the United States has been at war ever since I've been conscious that I've been in existence as a human being in this lifetime. If it isn't this war, it's that war, or that war, or that war. It's perpetual warfare. And the president, I think it was Eisenhower, after World War II, he warned everybody in America, be careful now that we've been suckered into World War II. We've built up massive capacities for warfare. And it happens to be a very lucrative business. And so he was reminding everybody, beware of the military-industrial complex. That's what it is. It's a massive, massive complex that covers every single state in the nation of America, in the United States, where there are military activities, especially to do with construction and development and the building and assembling of machines of war, whether it's guns, bullets, and ammo, or jets, or laser beams, or EMPs, or development and research into who knows what kind of secret weapons are being developed. But it's a huge, huge business. It involves hundreds of billions of dollars of mostly unaccountable dark money. Just goes into this big pit, and the government in Washington allows that to happen. Well, let's say enables that to happen. And we deal with the consequences. And it's like a machine. It's a war machine. And as a war machine, it is perpetually seeking an enemy. It has to have an enemy to justify itself. And so if you kind of start digging deep into American history and the way America operates overseas, you start to scratch your head and think, you know what? A lot of these wars are contrived. They're deliberately contrived by the warmongers, because there are other states, actors around the world that are heavily involved in the military-industrial complex, and there's a lot of overlap, perhaps like between Israel, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Spain. They all have deep, deep integration with the American war machines. And what else? Yeah, even China is heavily involved, believe it or not. So, there's that thing that's going on. And there's somebody that they don't like. The initials are DJT, Donald for short. They don't like him. The reason they don't like him is because he is not interested in war. He thinks it's bad, dirty, ugly. And so just imagine you are a world-class warmonger, and this fellow gets into office. He's going to destroy your business model. We're not going to have a war? What do you mean, no war? What about Russia? What about Iran? What about all the skirmishes in Africa? What about China? What about the Middle East, Ukraine, and all of that, and anything else that could go wrong? What about all that? Donald's going to go, no, 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 no. Enough is enough is enough. Guess what happens? Stock prices go down because there's no action. Oh, we got to stop building tanks for a while. So on and so on. So, oh, Esther worked at Halliburton. Oh my God, you're going back to the Bush era. President Bush and all of that. So, yeah, if you dig around and you've been around the block, you start to realize, oh my God, we're all being scammed. So if you look from the bottom up, if you're like someone like me, I'm just a generic person. I don't have any influence on global power or anything like that. So I'm at the bottom looking up, and what I see is heavily orchestrated chaos that's designed to explode, and it's for the benefit of the warmongers, so that they can profit. So it's profiteering through war. And if you go up a few more layers and you start examining and reading about and listening to the shenanigans in Washington, you start to think there's a lot of double talk going on here. Like 1 minute we're supporting Israel, and the next minute people are shouting Israel's the enemy. Oh, 1 minute we're saying, Islamic, whatever they're called, extremists, they are the enemy, and America is being infected and invaded, and any minute now it's going to pop off, and all the local, sleeper cells are going to go active, and we're going to have a revolution inside America, and all that stuff. So blah, 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 blah. We know all of that. It's already scheduled. And it makes you wonder, like, what's going on? And the more you dig into it, you follow the money, you start to realize, my God, we're funding both sides of the wars. Now, why would anyone do that? Well, you go back to World War I, which was one of the best examples at the time, when the bankers from Amsterdam decided to create this sort of coalition because of all the wars going on in Europe, because Eastern Europe's always perpetually at war, and they thought, you know what? It's such a good business. We're sick of being traditional full reserve bankers where we just have warehouses full of stuff, full of corn, full of gold, full of silver, full of precious gems, full of very valuable spices and herbs from all over the world, all awaiting their shipping and their receiving to send around the world, and we act as basically a warehouse. It's a warehouse full of very, very valuable stuff. Oh, that's cool. It's just sitting there. You know what? We could do something with that. We could write out little bits of paper, because everybody comes knocking at our door and saying, hey, listen, you guys, you're the bankers, you're the warehousers and all of this stuff. You've got all this stuff, and I need to do things. I want to start a war myself. I have a country of my own, and I need to start a war because my neighbors are really pissing me off. I don't have a lot of money, but, if you could lend me a couple of million back in the day, maybe a couple 100 million or something, I could obliterate them. right? And after I win the war, everything's going to be great and I'll pay you back with interest. And the banksters go, that's not a bad idea. But we can't just give you the gold and the silver and then you give it back. Tell you what, we'll write a little piece of paper. It's a very, very fancy piece of paper. And it's basically us. We're lending you the equivalent value of 10 million. Okay? And you have to pay it back with interest. 8%. That's the magic number. Okay? That's how that works. And the guy says, oh, thanks, man. Look at that. I just got funded. I can take that to anywhere in my country and I'll put it in my bank, in my central bank, and we're going to start printing notes based on this. And I can use that to pay for all my swords and horses and carriages and bullets and guns and bayonets. And then we'll go to war. Ha 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 ha. And of course the word gets out. Okay. So, word gets out. The neighbors just figured out that, oh my God, that country, they're going to go to war against us. What are we going to do? So they figure out, wait a minute, he just pulled a stunt with those guys in Amsterdam. Let's go over there. So they go over to the guys in Amsterdam and say, hey, listen, man, you just loaned that guy 10 million to slaughter us. What's going on, man? Why don't you lend us like 12 or 13 million? We'll slaughter them, all right? And we'll pay you the 8% interest on the way back, right? Okay? And so the banker goes, okay, well, I've still got gazillions worth of gold and silver and pepper and oregano and corn and black pepper. Sure, we'll do it. So long as nobody comes over here and says, I want all my gold back, all my silver back, that's not going to happen. No worries. I will write you the loan. How much did you want? 13 million? There you are. Now you can put that in your bank and you can tell them this is good for 13 million. And the guy goes, ha, we're going to win, baby. And the banker goes home and goes, okay, let's sit back and watch, folks. Because it doesn't matter who wins. We're going to get paid anyway. Because in the small print on our contract, it says whoever wins the war has to pay me back plus the 8% plus all the losses from the losers. Ha ha ha! So there you go. That's how that works. And it's been working like that ever since 1913. It's interesting. Once that model had got out there, it spread like wildfire all over the world, all over Western Europe, and they all thought, whoa, if they can do it, we can do it. And so the whole of the banking empires of Amsterdam exploded and expanded, and they wanted a place of safety and refuge from all the war, so they came to America and basically went to, I think it was to Woodrow Wilson at the time. He said, listen, Woodrow, we need a safe haven here. Why don't we just set up a bank here that's just for you? Why not? We'll call it the Federal Reserve Bank. Yeah, yeah. And Woodrow goes, whew, that sounds really cool. I'm the president and I've got my own Federal Reserve Bank. You guys are looking after me. That's cool. And the bankers go, this guy's a freaking sucker, man. But anyway, it works. So, very, 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 very shortly after the Federal Reserve Bank was set up here in America in its little safety zone, bam-o! World War I began. Right on cue. Slaughter, slaughter, slaughter. Millions, 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 millions dead. And the bankers can just sit there going, oh, it's going very, very well. Oh, look, they're winning. Oh, no, look, they're winning. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, it's even. No. Okay. Oh, it's over, apparently. Okay, time to collect. So 1914 to 1918, war, 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 death, 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 destruction, debt, 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 borrow, 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 borrow. And then the bankers think it's time to bring some relief to the world. So now that we have all this debt return money coming flooding in, we're going to use that to fund more debt. Ow! It worked brilliantly. The Roaring 20s, 1919 to 2029. 10 years of glorious debauchery of debt upon debt upon debt upon debt. And then the banksters said, well, that's enough. We've jacked it up as much as we can for now. We got to put a stop to this for a while and start collecting. Yep, yep. And so it all began. The ups and downs of the Federal Reserve banking system and the big, big war bucks. Big war bucks, yeah. And it's the same thing. Here we are today, 2024, 111 years later, 111. Some people will think that's a magic number. 111 years later, it's game on, baby. This time round, it's number 3. And of course, there's a lot more zeros involved with the banks and everything. So once you figure that out, okay, what is the point of all these wars? Really, it's just exploitation. They're calling it a banker's war. It's a banker's war. They want this war. They need this war. That's how they fund themselves. That's how they grow their industry. So it doesn't really matter who wins, just so long as we have war and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. More guns, more bullets, more dead people. Dead people are just collateral damage. That's just an annoying, sad, tragic side effect. It's just what happens, man. When you're running a business, when you're running a war, when you're running, banks and you're the Federal Reserve with all the other central banks, it's just, that's how they do things, Anyway, they can't control everything, so let's break it down just a little bit. I just gave you my description of the machine in the background. So who profits? Who benefits? War, war, war. Money, 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 money. Forget about the dead people. Money, 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 money. So you're looking inside the United States, which is the big one, the military-industrial complex over here. You've got, what is it? I had my master list, but it's basically things like Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, General Motor, Defense, Lockheed Martin, and I'm sure I forgot, but there's loads of them. Those are 5 big ones that I can think of off the top of my head at the moment. But these are like multi-trillion-dollar like government military contractors. Okay? Hello from Portugal. May I ask a question? Hello, Andre. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. I'll explain how we do the show here, okay? Wait a minute. Okay, Andre, you're over there in Portugal. Have you ever heard of Redacted? It's one of my favorite YouTube alternative trustworthy news sources. They're based in Portugal. I love those guys. That's Natalie and Morris Clayton. Sorry, Natalie and Clayton Morris. Anyway, Andre, what I do here, I can usually do 2, maybe 3 miniature tarot readings on the show. And typically what happens is, if somebody wants a tarot reading, they go to on a different device or tab or something like your phone or a tablet or whatever. You go to TarotLumination.com, you find the donate page, you click the donate page, brings up the donate button, click that, it opens up the payment processor. You can scroll down and swipe a card, just like you do with shopping online. And then that comes through over here and I can see it in real time. and then you get your mini reading. It's really cool. Anyway, if you're just interested in asking some, like, political questions or something, feel free to type it in, and if I can feel safe and comfortable, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Oh, you watch them. Hi, Victor. You watch Redacted. That's cool. I don't watch all their stuff, but I love those guys because I think that they're very, very authentic, and they've got some very, very deeply bedded connections in the news of the world, and I trust them. They're one of the people that I definitely trust. Anyway, so I was just talking about all those huge mega corporations in the military-industrial complex. So they're all heavily integrated with money, the United States Treasury, the United States Federal Reserve banking system. Okay, and you think, okay, well, it's sort of like an organism. It feeds off violence, death, destruction, blood. Just like, I don't know, a highly toxic cancer. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. And then you think, like, well, what's on top of that? Who are they? Who's actually pulling all these strings? And we've talked about that before. You start getting into the really wacky world of conspiracy theorists with Illuminatis and the Church of Rome, the Queen of England, and the White House, and Buckingham Palace, and all these things, and Atlantis, and all sorts of secret societies, secret handshakes, and all they care about is power and money and control. And to get into that level, you have to go through these really bizarre, perverted initiation ceremonies and processes. And my personal feeling is that at that level of power, money, and control, the people have become so hollow, they've abdicated their soul to the point where there's nothing, and everything is conducted from the head upwards, and the rest of the body is the servant of the head, and the head is simply a sensory organ that has a fundamental drive to want to be forever, live forever, have infinitely more power and money and control than is possible at any point in time, and actually ultimately completely futile. You're gonna croak at some point anyway. But they can't help themselves, and so they decide to climb that pyramid of power up to the very, very, very top. They are either elected or selected or born into it or groomed into it or something like that. And I think they have very secret private phone calls at the very, very top, and they try to organize things between themselves and each other so that this whole enterprise just keeps rolling. This thing keeps rolling. This is just another big chapter in their organized mayhem. And some popular names you might have heard of, like WEF, UN, WHO, CDC. You might have heard of all those things that I believe are very, let's say, hollow, not trustworthy, something that I would not like to have in my life, in my world. United Nations and World Health Organization have been very, let's say, I don't know if it's the word hostile, but they've been very assertive lately. They're trying to take over the world because that's what they want to do. And they're trying to use the China model designed by Mr. Mao Zedong and amplified by Mr. Ping today. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I can't understand. Because, like, in the world of Mr. Ping, Mr. Xi himself, pronouns anyway, his whole country is imploding. He doesn't really care. He doesn't care if 1 billion people die. He still has 400 million people left over. And he's trying to make his mark in the world as the biggest, most powerful man in existence. And it's not working very well because his whole economy is imploding. He's trying to cover it up, pretend it's greater than ever. Grandpa Joe's trying to declare the same thing over here. Things aren't actually working that well. Depends on your perspective, of course. But it is a model. And the model is complete, absolute, tyrannical, totalitarian, communist. What else? It's mayhem. It's just, I don't understand it. It's just this lust, insatiable lust for power, money, and control. And they can't switch it off. They just have to have more and more and more. And in the process, they create more and more death and destruction and pain and suffering along the way for everybody else. Unless you're one of their select little friends. But if you fall out of favor, then you're... So what's the point, you know? I want to be happy. So you start going up to the very, very top. You start looking at these different entities, these corporations, these banks, these banksters, and the system and how it all works. And then you connect dots with, well, again, follow the money, follow the money, follow the money, honey. You get back, like, well, who owns the shares? Who are the shareholders in all this stuff? You know, Raytheon or Raphael from Israel or the French ones or whatever they are. Lockheed Martin. Billions and billions. Anyway, the vast bulk of shares in the military-industrial complex are owned by... You know, you already know, because we've talked about this before. We already know this. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, Blackstone, and all the others in that crowd. Guess what? All those folks, they all own the vast bulk of shares in each other's entity. So it's like a cartel. You can't get around it. It's just how it works. I mean, if I was one of those types of people, that's what I would do. I would just sit around all day scratching my head trying to figure out how can I create a bigger, badder war so I can make more and more money and have more and more power. That's it. So anyway, that's what I feel is going on right now. Let's go back to the stage a minute because I want to go into a couple of details. So, we already talked about this for years. Pluto goes into Aquarius and we get revolution, upheaval, global revolution, because people are sick of being under the control of these megalomaniacs, these sociopaths, psychopaths who only care about power, money, and control. And at Capricorn, Pluto, 29 degrees, of course, that's maximum aberrations of power and control. And they're not wanting to let go. So that 18-year journey has a huge spillover into the Pluto and Aquarius journey, because the Pluto and Aquarius journey is going to try and break away and separate from that energy field over there. So that is a 20-year journey. So strap in now, brace yourselves, and get used to it, okay? Because we've already started. And we're just at the opening ceremonies, okay? Next thing I want to point out is that Mars and Saturn are conjoined here in Pisces right now. That is a miserably painful alignment. And it's like an expression of... To me, it makes me feel like it's an "I told you so" type of energy from one enemy to another enemy. I told you I was going to take you down. I told you I was going to get you. Now I'm going to do it. And it's like negative karma backed up by negative violence. And so it feeds on itself, planting seeds of horror and war, okay, going forward. All under the delusion that they're doing the right thing. Neptune is getting way high up here in the high 20-degree mark. And of course, we already know that eventually there's going to be this Saturn-Neptune conjunction right here. I am sensing war. Okay, just brace yourselves again. In the near future, we've got a couple things coming up. see, I'm just going to put that there for a minute. Where are we? Venus is already in. Okay, we got over here. Venus is in Aries right now, so that's not the happiest place for Venus. Relationships can become very volatile. And soon, right at the end of the month, Venus is going to move into Taurus. So that's a smoother, sweeter type of energy, but it's also going to be very much about the money, honey. Very much about the money, and that money is going to be very closely affiliated with war. Why do I say that? It's because Mars is simultaneously heading into Aries. So if you think things are bad right now when it comes to war, wait until, where is it? I just had it. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Mars enters Aries at the end of the month, April, and at the beginning of May. Mars is going to go to Aries, and I think it's going to be gloves off across the world. I think you're going to see a lot more headlines involving guns and bullets and blood and death and mayhem. Because why? Why? Well, you want to be happy. I do, but some people are not happy, and they're very pissed, and they want to take it out on somebody. So what's happening, of course, when Mars enters Aries over here, I believe things are going to really pop off and fly off in terms of, let's say, expanding the energy of war and warfare across the world, sadly, because Mars is also going to be coming very close to Chiron and Aries, which are very close on the North Node. And there's a tremendous amount of frustration and bitterness and deep, deep soul pain about the loss of sovereign self that every human being on earth is carrying. And it goes all the way up to nations. If you think of a nation as a form as an organism, it's the same thing. Like the Iranians or something, they're feeling very, very pissed off because everybody thinks they're mean and horrible and the enemy, and all they feel is that all we have to do is convert the rest of the world to our version of Islam, and everything will be great again. And if you don't like it, well, then we have a problem. So anyway, there's a lot of that. So it's all about war, baby. War. It's going to amplify. It's going to build up. It's going to start to become the most boring headline in the world. Sadly, that's frightening because people are going to get war weary, and we haven't even started yet. Well, things are sparking. Okay, things are sparking off. Okay, so we've got the full moon on the 23rd. So what's so special about that full moon on the 23rd? Well, it's all about the money, honey. Why? Because on the 23rd, we're basically going to be right on, let's see, when does everything go into Taurus? Hold on. I'm just checking up some maps here. Okay, because the sun goes into Taurus on the 19th, all right? That's over here. The sun goes into Taurus on the 19th, and just a couple days later, the moon is going to be in Scorpio, so that's a full moon. So bammo, it's going to be all about the money, big global money. Sun in Taurus, moon in Scorpio. Okay, so, excuse me, right now, the moon is over here in Cancer in 2, 4, 6, 7, about 7 and 8 days or whatever. The moon is going to be up here in Scorpio, opposing all of this Uranus stuff and the sun, and maybe Mercury as well. I haven't checked, but that's the money angle, baby. That is the money axis right there. And that's going to be lit up big time at the full moon on the 23rd. All right? So can you see where I'm going with all this? I don't want to insult people. I'm just basically trying to dumb this all down so it's like really, really simple. War, dollars, and war. It's a very dirty way to get rich and make money, but it works for some people. For some people, you die. Now, here we go with another doozy. In a matter of just days, I should have written out a lot more notes than I got. On the 18th, today we're in 4 days. Well, we're already conjoined, okay? Technically, the exact conjunction is on the 18th of April. That's with Jupiter conjoined Uranus in Taurus. So that's very much about big money. The big money across the world. And it's a very, let's say, powerful aspect. And it's going to be a very stressful aspect, because that's effectively still going to have the same conjunction here that we have over here. And all that's going to happen is at the full moon on the 23rd, it's going to bring everything into stark focus. So my feeling is that it would not surprise me if we saw some absolutely wacko, surprising, almost shocking, unexpected, maybe miraculous, but maybe terrifying global headlines regarding global finance. The trigger, the things that I will be observing will be China and the United States Federal Reserve and the United States stock market and the S&P 500 index, okay? So those are my notes. And then to round it up with these notes, we've got the new moon in Taurus on May the 7th. So that's going to be more money. But that's a while from now. So, something to think about. All these little tiny notes here, these are the sort of things that I do in my head all day, every day for myself, just to try and keep myself sane and stable. I can't control any of this. Nobody can control any of this. The elites believe that they can control this stuff, but they can't really. They just think they can, so they try, and they make the rest of us miserable. It's not fair, really. Yeah. So, like, people don't want to predict the future. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm just rattling off my opinions, my feelings, based on many years of doing astrology. And what I see is very, very simple. It's all about war and money, money and war. What does that look like in the details? Well, we're going to find out as we go along. But it is going to escalate. Escalate is the buzzword. It's been going on for a few months now, but it's going to really amplify now. Cheers, everybody. Isn't this a cheerful show tonight? Yeah. Very, very scary. What else? There was a couple of things. We'll get to the readings in just a moment. Victor, I wanted to say, Victor, again, if you're interested, you can do that TarotLumination donate button thing. If you've got... Wait a minute, who asked for the... Somebody said they wanted to ask a question. Andre Santos from Portugal, yeah. If it's just a generic question about life in the world and everything, and the show, or about my notes or something, feel free, just type it in. If it's something personal where you want a reading, that's a whole other thing. Okay, so I'm just letting you know. So, a couple of things very disturbing. Love Triber shares all sorts of interesting things with me. Earlier today, she showed me something that was very disturbing. And it was in Carlsbad, California, which I believe is way south. I don't think it's as... Wait a minute, we're in Carlsbad. Yeah, I lived, in Southern California for 20 years. I should know. But anyway, what she showed was one of those either Telegram, TikTok, or X, videos that you can't find on the mainstream. And it showed a large boat, speedboat kind of thing, packed with men just going full speed riding up onto the beach at Carlsbad. And the little video was being taken by what to me appears to be the lifeguard who's on duty at the beach at that time. And this was today. And it was obviously very strange because there were just folks regular hanging out at the beach. And then this boat drives right up onto the sand, and about a couple of dozen men jump out, look like they're military, and they just go running up the beach straight onto the road at the top. And then they start hijacking cars, stealing cars, and driving away very, very fast. To me, that's pretty scary. But what can you do? You know, if you're just a person and you're in California, your right to defend yourself is very, very limited. All you can do is sit by and watch. Yeah. Yes. Excuse me. Oh, God. Sorry about that. A couple more notes here. No, I think that was it. That's my notes for now. Let me go back over here. So anyway, I guess I could spell this out in different ways, but I would rather, the green trine here and the sextiles there, they're very nice to have. They're very comforting, very soothing between the Pisces, Cancer, Taurus energy. That's very nice. It makes it a little easier to digest the horrible things that are going on right now. And in a way, it always does balance out. It's just that when you see stuff, I think it's, in my opinion, I would rather just call it out as I see it. And what I see here is war. Violence, war, escalation, more violence, more war. It's going to trigger huge gyrations in the global financial systems. We're talking about the stock market in America, okay? The S&P 500 especially. And gold. We're looking at gold, silver spot prices, and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to do a little, that's what I wanted to mention. Here we go. Let me just do one more little doodle for you, then we'll actually get on with the show, with the readings and so on. This is something I learned from a couple of finance guys that I like. One of them is, I would say these are advanced or very advanced financial educators. Quite a lot of it goes over my head, but I love to learn as much as I can anyway. So I'm going to really simplify this, but these are charts that have been used multiple times by these highly trustworthy people. And one of the charts, one of their favorite ones, they don't use it all the time, but it's like every now and again they show the particular chart. And the chart looks like this. I'm just going to simplify, okay? Okay. That is the chart that I am talking about. And this comes from the United States Federal Reserve Bank, okay? It's the U.S. Fed, okay? And this chart is a chart of what they call M2. M2 represents the money supply. That's the actual amount of currency that is created through debt obligations, and pumped into the American economy. And the U.S. Fed, they understand that if they pump too much too quickly, it creates inflation. If they restrict it, it makes the economy feel all frustrated. So it's very annoying. But over extended period of time, let's say this is, I don't know, like the 1900s over here, 1950s over here, I don't know, the 70s, 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020, 4, and so on. Okay? This chart represents the amount of money that the United States Fed, in collusion with Wall Street primary banks, that's, JP Morgan, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and a host of other behind-the-scenes trading banks and bond houses and so on. This is just basically the pile of money that goes into the United States. Now, here's another chart that is overlaid. The people who do this most accurately are Mark Moss and George Gammon and Gregory Mannarino in their own ways, and it looks like this. I'm going to add it on the same chart. Can you see that? I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. You see that little pink line there? That pink line is the S&P 500 scale. Now, isn't that interesting? What does that tell you? Most especially from here onwards, once they figured it out, like, wow, this is a pattern, man. Once they figured it out, because this is a very old scale. This is from started in 1913. But basically, what you start to realize is that they go up in parallel. And then you start to ask questions, well, what's the point in being a really, really smart stock market investor? Doing all your homework, picking the right stocks and bonds and all that kind of thing. What's the point in being really super smart if the S&P simply goes up in alignment with the M2? You don't have to be smart. All you have to do is buy the S&P and sit back and wait, and you get rich. In other words, inflation works for the elite. But somehow or other, it doesn't work for the common person. Because what happens with all this M2 is just more and more and more and more and more currency, which means that the value of your currency goes down and down and down and down. Because there's absolutely nothing to justify the increase. It's just that banks can't help it. They love it because it's a system, it's a racket. If you study this stuff very, very deep, you start to realize that, oh my God, this is a very elaborate, beautiful, subtle, almost invisible mechanism for theft. It's theft by the elite, for the elite, at your expense. Because all the money that we talked about over here, all the money that goes into the war stocks, it all goes into black. Okay, let me just do it this way. Oh gosh, I'm going to get tied up in knots. I want to get on with your readings. The reason why it works for the elite is because the elite put their money here, and they trust the institutions like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, Blackstone, and I don't know the names of all the other big ones, but these are the very most basic ones, okay? BlackRock manages $13 trillion worth of assets. And all of these folks here are heavily associated with like JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and all of that. So it's all a big racket. These folks here, they all own the vast bulk of shares in the S&P 500. Now, isn't that a coincidence? Ha 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 ha. Oh my God. So in other words, it's very simple. The Fed prints money, it goes through the wash, it gets all washed out, and it ends up over here. So while inflation worked for the elite, it destroys the middle class and the working people. Inflation works for the elite. I'm going to put it down here. Inflation destroys the masses. Okay, there you go. It's a perfect equation. This is exactly the opposite of this. This is exactly opposite to this. All the wealth that's in here, genuine wealth from your sweat equity, basically gets transferred over here into terms of digital assets which can be cashed out. And they can cash out and they can buy mansions, they can buy gold, they could buy estates, they can build bunkers on Hawaii, they can buy McDonald's farmland like Bill Gates. So it works for them, but it destroys the masses. Anyway, I just wanted to put that on show so that people have an understanding of my opinions, my perspectives, and why I come to the opinions and conclusions that I share. Okay? Anyway, enough. I'm just going to put this over here. I'm going to put that one over here. And actually, you know what? Let's put these notes over here in case we need the notes for the rest of the show. We'll see. All right. I'm just going to do a double check here. I'm going to do a little bit of getting ready for the shuffle for the, because we got to do some readings now. I mean, that's why we're here. All right, let's have a look. So, what was I going to say? Oh, sorry, Esther, some notes there, yeah. I like to read some things about Warren Buffett and all these big shot, really big deal investors. I also like to watch these insane things about real lifetime currency traders. And it's mind-boggling what goes on behind the scenes and how money works, how it flows around. It's like a belief system. It's like an energy field. And some of it's very, very dark and some of it's very, very beautiful. And most people, after a while, they start to figure out, I'd love to have more than I have already. And it would be like, oh. And so you end up in the gambling syndrome or the lottery syndrome. If only I just do that, I know I'm going to make it. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to do this. And people take outrageous risks and then it goes like, oh, ouch. Anyway, yeah. All right, let's have a look. Now, I'm going to get ready to do the mini readings. And we'll see. I've got, let me just check here. Oh my gosh. All right, so we're booked up, folks. We are booked. Oh, I see your notes there, Esther. Esther, I'm already booked, so I'm going to put this up, make it very clear. No more readings tonight. I've got to put a note out for Mr. Ross. I didn't see that. Gosh, I do love our community here. It's one of the most important moments of the week for me, is doing our little show. All right, let's see. All right. Let's do it this way. So thank you. We're all booked up. We got Elizabeth Boucher, Tina Miller, and Gregory Ross. And that'll be it for tonight, all right? So let's put this all this over here. So let me get things organized and we will get on with the show. Don't listen to me. Don't take any kind of financial advice from me, because if you knew my life, you would understand that you'd probably better talk to somebody else. But let me mention something there. I just saw a note there from Esther. It looks like ready to invest in S&P. Just want to mention something. So, you know, I made this astrodoodle here, okay? Well, it's not an astrodoodle, it's a doodle. For anyone who's interested, when I do big dips like that, this is just, I'm just making this all up to make it look like a chart, okay? But when you go into it in very tight detail, a huge dip like that would be a war. And sudden massive crashes in the stock market, okay? And over here, like in 2008, bam-o, Wall Street collapsing. Over here, 9/11, 2001, bam-o. Over there, Vietnam, over here, well, World War II was sort of like this. But anyway, the point that I was trying to get at is that, yes, this is a general upward swing, and it's going like this. Okay? So, you gotta remember that every now and again, this is gonna go like that. But if you're vested over decades, it kind of doesn't matter. Because if you look at this, it's just onward and upward, baby. That's how it is. You know? So, for some reason, hold on, I'm getting a weird alert from YouTube. Give me a second, folks. I don't know what's happening here. So, anyway, the people who I enjoy and from whom I learn so much, a lot of them, like if you listen to Peter Schiff, he's a gold bug. He's always basically telling everybody it's the end of the world tomorrow. You need to buy a lot of gold right now. And so on. Some people say it's the end of the world tomorrow. You need to start buying Bitcoin right now. Some people say, oh, you just need to find a good stockbroker and a good money manager. Oh, you just need a good 401k and a retirement fund, whatever it is. Some people, they actually buy the S&P 500. It's actually a buyable entity. And this is what you buy. You're buying the perpetual up. So the point I was trying to make earlier is that you don't have to be a stock picking genius. You don't have to sit there calculating, is this company better than that company? Should I put my money over here and take it out of there and move it to there and to there and then wait for 2 months and then shuffle it over to here? Maybe I should try to get a good steady 13%. And it's a lot of work to manage your own money that way, and you have to be a genius. Or you just buy the S&P 500 and you sit back and wait for a couple of decades. So if you start young, you'll be fine. Who knows what's going to happen? With World War III, it might be that this thing shoots way up here, because that's what's going to happen with war. I guarantee, just let me ramble on it just a few more moments, okay? Right now, I just want to mention, okay, this is for the American United States Federal Reserve Bank. And I ran out of room here, but this is starting to go like this, okay? It's going almost parabolic. And that's a very dangerous sign, because it's great for these guys, but it's really bad for us. You've probably noticed that food is like 20, 30, 40, 50%, 100% inflated. Gasoline is almost double from a couple of years ago, and so on and so on. That's inflation. It's not because those things became more expensive. It's because your dollar became worth less. Eventually it gets to a point like Venezuela where it's actually worthless. Nothing. That's why we have so many people from Venezuela flooding the border right now, okay? Hello, Diana. Just in time for a few readings. There we go. We're all booked up, Diana. I've got 3 readings lined up, ready to go. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that China right now is so desperate that they're telling the world the exchange rate for the yuan is 1 to 7. 7 yuan will get you $1. That's BS, okay? It's not that way at all. It's much, much worse. It's more like 20. You need 20 yuan to get $1. So what does that mean? It means the Chinese people, the Chinese masses, are broke. They're beyond broke. They're getting desperate. Really, really, really bad. So what is Mr. Ping doing? He's printing more money. It's the same game, but the Chinese version of the American game, okay? So that's how that works. And with the way things going with this warlike environment is that a lot more currency, a lot more M2 is being released into the world, because it's the way that the war machine cashes in. They're going to print tons of money. It's going to flood the market. It feeds the war. That feeds on itself. That big spike in the curve goes up and up and up. The elite cash in. That's how it works. It's like an extraction system for extracting wealth out of the masses and sticking it into the pockets of the elites. War is the #1 business for that, okay? Trouble is, it's a very ugly, dirty business, and some people die. Alrighty, here we go. Elizabeth, you are up. All right, here we go. After Elizabeth, we're reading for Mr. Ross and then Ms. Miller. All right, I'm going to put those over here. All right. So, Elizabeth, some of you were here last week. You might remember last Sunday, was it, or Saturday or Sunday, 3 people tried to bust into her home over there in the Marina del Rey, down near Venice Beach, right on the water, right on the beach in California. Beautiful, beautiful place. Just gorgeous. But they didn't get in, and Elizabeth lives to fight another day. Elizabeth has to be one of the most capable survivors I've ever met. Against all odds. You know, it's one of those kinds of stories. There's movies about people like Elizabeth. All right, we are shuffled up and ready to go. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card, all the computer here, the chips that drive it, the monitors, the cameras, the lights, the microphones, the electricity, the platform itself, the website itself, the music, the art, all of it. Thank you so much. Here we go. All right, Elizabeth, what kind of messages do we have for you here tonight at TarotLumination? This is the classic TarotLumination situational spread. I've been using it for many years. It still works perfectly. It doesn't break down like cars do. So, let's have a look. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. And let's have a look at external influences. I often, as you know, default to the planets. So we got the star. Oh. Well, I am very happy to see this for you, Elizabeth. It makes me feel that there's a little bit of joy out there. There's something beautiful that is out of control of all the evil, horrible, nasty people who want to do horrible, nasty things to really nice people. Hope is kind of a frame of mind. It's like someone has to be a shining example of living a life against all odds. Like some people would try to figure out, how on earth do you do it, Elizabeth? How on earth do you do it? And Elizabeth would probably say, well, something like, well, I'm just doing what I have to do. Someone's got to do it. And you become a shining example of the energy field of hope, because it would be so easy to give this up and say life is just a piece of doo-doo. It's hopeless. There's no point in trying to live or trying to be happy. So my feeling is that the best thing, the way oh God, excuse me, YouTube is sending me weird messages. Stay there, Elizabeth. What the hell? Oh, they're telling me that my broadcast is either choked or not streaming properly. If anybody feels like it, are you experiencing any kind of buffering or shaking or blackouts or lockouts or freezes or anything like that? Okay. I don't know why that would be. Everything looks really good over here in terms of my technology, my softwares. All my systems are all operational and good from what I can tell. So anyway, keep an eye out for that. Apparently YouTube is telling me that things are not going very well for the show. Okay. Okay, well, I don't have any control over it, so we'll just keep going. Brace yourself. If things get a bit glitchy or if it starts buffering, it's not my fault, because I've got a good system and it works well. It's not perfect, but it works pretty damn good. So right now, yeah, with this star card, Elizabeth, you could go back at the end of the show, and every now and again, you know how people walk through their house and They go to the bathroom, they go to the kitchen, they go through a window, they go out, in and out, or whatever. And every now and again you get a glimpse of yourself in a reflection, maybe in the grocery store, or at the at a bank, or at a coffee shop. Just remember, when you see yourself in the mirror, Elizabeth, you are a symbol of hope. Not just that that's you, it's for others, okay? There's something about your aura which is radiating the energy of hope. That, in other words, it's almost like, well, if Elizabeth can do it, then maybe there's hope for me. You know? It's that kind of vibe, okay? Okay. I hope so, Fluffles. Right, here's the situation. So, Page of Pentacles. My feeling is that we didn't... Where's the new moon eclipse? Okay, so we just had that. What was it? Just a week ago. All right. So it started to pick up energy. The new moon eclipse and it'll fulfill on the 23rd when it's all about money, honey. And we're looking at the Taurus Scorpio vibes. The sun is going to be in Taurus soon. So with the Page of Pentacles here, my feeling is that the situation right now is kind of like an opportunity. It's a chance for you to take a look at your finances, your financial world. And by that I mean not just whatever you got in the bank or on a credit card or something like that, but your resources. It's time to re-examine very gently, very comfortably, very calmly your natural resources, your natural gifts. Number one, you're a writer. You've got a very clear mind, which you have to have for a writer. You're very good at crafting a story, putting words together in a readable way. You are a survivor. You have a lot of experience in surviving. You know a lot about things that don't work. And you've developed ways to get along through every day. But you're at a chapter in life where it's time to re-examine things and say, you know what? Okay, so I've got a formula. I've got things, I've got a certain degree of stability. Certain things are okay. I got a roof over my head. I got a bit of money so I can get some food, groceries, and so on. Cup of tea here and there. But there's more. I can tell there's more. It's about, to me, it looks about refinement. Like, how can I improve myself, my finances in such a way that I actually can enjoy my finances better without necessarily having to go out and do things under the table or earn or something like that. It's more about taking a new view of your gifts, your talents, your resources, your environment, your world around you, and starting to figure out ways how to optimize that. For example, money, security regarding money. Are there things you perhaps need to do regarding security in your physical person? Should you be carrying mace? Should you put an extra lock on your door? Or can you do that with your living situation? Could you put a do-it-yourself security alarm system for peace of mind, on the exterior windows or something like that, in such a way that doesn't mess up with, homeowners or insurance or contracts or owners or anything like that. Just to make your world a safer, stronger, better place and bring you more peace of mind and more comfort. It's sort of like, it's almost like, how can I upgrade my world so that I have a higher degree of security and stability and a sense of happiness and abundance without actually having to find another $500 a month or another $1,000 a month or something like that. You have to do it within your existing parameters, okay? Okay, next, let's have a look. What's the challenges here? Okay, so what's that expression? You don't know what you don't know? Something like that? Anyway, my feeling here with the High Priestess is that deep down in your soul, you might feel as though there are some secrets to the universe that will never be revealed to you, and it's just not fair. It's not fair that you never get the chance to fully expand your gifts and talents to the way that you deserve. And every now and again it gets very frustrating because there's no obvious reason why. Where is the roadblock? What is the nature of the roadblock? You can't just say, oh, it's me in the mirror, I'm depressed for today. Oh, it's because nobody likes me, nobody wants my novels or my screenplays. It's not that. It's something it looks to me like you fear that there's some mystical, dark thing that's blocking you and stopping you, over which you have no control, which would make you want to give up hope. But you got to keep going and just continue to be you, whatever the new versions of you look like. It's just that's very, very frustrating to be unable to fully diagnose or understand or come to terms with the mysteries of the obstacles that seem to have no definition. Like, it's so frustrating. What do you do with that? Okay, let's have a look. How do we move forward anyway? Okay, it's sending me more glitch messages here. You're glitching. It's not. I'm doing really well over here. Thank you, YouTube. I think YouTube is the one having the problem. All right, let's have a look. How do we move forward? Let's have a look, Elizabeth. Aha! Ace of Wands. To me, this feels like it's an I told you so. But that's actually me, your reader, saying I told you so. So with the Ace of Wands, this is excellent indications of new starts and new beginnings for you personally. So in other words, we had the Aries new moon. This is very much about Aries new moon type of energy. But let's stretch it out a little bit, okay? Let's stretch it out to the full moon, where the sun is in Taurus, the moon is in Scorpio. And my feeling is by this time next week, you're going to get a much better idea of what this mini reading actually means, okay? So it's like, oh, maybe there are new chances, new starts, new beginnings, new opportunities for me, Elizabeth Boucher. And you could look at that. Let's move forward a little bit. Let's look at, mark your calendar. Where would that be? Have I got the right? No. Mark your calendar for the new moon in Taurus, which will be the 7th of May. Okay? So as you get up towards the 7th, let me do it like this. Hold on. Okay, we're here right now, okay, Elizabeth? What I'm sensing is that this reading has kind of an extended stretch to it, and it's taking you through the full moon, sun in Taurus, okay, moon in Scorpio, finances, right? Finances, right? Trying to resolve some mysteries, right? And understanding, this is a chance for new starts and new beginnings in my perspectives and how I optimize my talents, gifts, and resources and money. Aha! And so you stretch that a little bit forward. You come out of the Mercury retrograde. Hallelujah. And then you move forward over here to the, is it the 9th? What did I say? May. Let me just double check. The new 7th. It's the 7th is the new moon. Okay. So when you get to the 7th here, this is going to be the Taurus new moon. Okay. Right here. Where is it? Sun. moon right over there. That's the Taurus. I'll have to mark this up later. But this reading, what it's telling me is that you've got time to prepare to get yourself set up. So when the Taurus moon arrives on May 7th, which is what, basically 1, 2, like 3 weeks from now, just gently absorb the feelings that you get about this reading, and then you put it into action. How am I going to actually manifest this and put it into action? Starting on the Taurus new moon. Now also remember, for about 3 or 4, maybe 5 days, 2, 3 or 4 days before the Taurus moon, you might feel a little bit under like nobody loves me, everything's quiet, miserable, there's nothing going on, I don't know what to do with my life, blah. And it's because you're a pretty sensitive person, okay, Elizabeth? So be careful. At the end of the lunar cycle, you might feel a little bit fragile, but that's normal. Don't take it personally, because from the Taurus new moon onwards, May 7th, that will be your signal for new starts and new beginnings, to like put your plans into action, okay? New plans, new starts, new beginnings, like recalibrating your life. And not having to live so much at the mercy of all the obscure things that you can't see or understand, or that are mysterious and that you'll never be able to control. And you just basically have to just accept that happens to everybody. So what are you going to do about it personally for you? You're going to be fine when you look at it that way. All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, we're going to move straight on. We're going to do a reading for Mr. Gregory Ross now. So what does this look like over here? Okay. Oh, thank you, Fluffles. Yeah, they're noticing me. Oh. I wish they would reboot my algorithm. Alrighty, let me just check in. Go over there, let me see. Good evening, sir. It's good to know you. Thanks for dropping by this evening. I'm glad you've been having such a wonderful time recently. A vital specimen, a glowing example of a person generating happiness from the inside out. There you go. That's you, sir. All right, let's see. What kind of messages do we have for Mr. Ross? Put that over here. Cards are well shuffled. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So gather round your invisible friends, your angels, guardian angels, archangels, everybody you can think of, pets from previous lifetimes, special people on the other side. You love them, they love you. All right, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle things. And let's have a look at external influences. Let's see what that's like. We have the devil. Okay, so my feeling here is, please, obviously, don't be scared because the imagery is like, whoa. What I'm sensing about this for you, Gregory, is that it's just like this reminder, because, you've shared a lot with me over the years. We've done a lot of work together. And to me, it seems recently you have been glowing. And so, okay, this is how I'm just going to try. I'm going to have to, hold on, just wait, hold on. Here's the energy that I pick up from the card. What it's trying to say is that you're doing an awesome job. Okay? It's very, very hard at times to deal with this so-called devil energy. It's an energy of bondage, of feeling trapped, especially by forces, energies, circumstances, people, behaviors, activities that seem or feel like they're out of your control. The thing is, you've done so much work on yourself to the point where you have really, truly released yourself from a lot of the bondage of anything and everything that might have been an impediment. One of the ones that I've noticed over the years is that you have this almost like this compassion junkie energy where you are fundamentally compelled to help people who can't really help themselves. And you take it very personally. You become a defender of faith and justice and fairness, sometimes to your own demise. And you reach a point where, it's time to balance things out. And the thing is, the reason why I say compassion junkie is because it can be extremely satisfying to bring justice and a feeling of goodness to those who deserve it and who can't figure it out for themselves. Okay? So that's one example. That's just one example, and it's a compulsion. The other thing is, like myself, you know that I love my beverages, okay? And that can be very binding as well. Also, like you're saying here, like being a workaholic type of thing. That can be very binding. Excuse me. There's weird allergies in this city that I just cannot understand. It's very hard to manage, but I'm actually doing quite well today. So, what I'm sensing is that you're on top of this. This is an unusual way to read this card, but what I'm sensing personally is that what it's actually telling you is that Pretend I'm the devil card, okay? Look at it this way. Pretend I'm actually the devil card, and I'm just there like, oh, Gregory. You have done a great job of giving me the middle finger. You know what? But doesn't mean I'm gone. I'm right here. At any moment in time, I could take you down if I wanted to. The problem is, you're not allowing it to happen. That's what I'm sensing. That's kind of what I'm sensing with the devil card, is that you've got this. You know perfectly well what it means. You understand what it's like to live under the constraints, the chains of bondage, self-imposed bondage, self-imposed limitations, suffocating invisible prisons, all of that kind of stuff. You know that. But you also know how to unshackle yourself. And of course, that's like, oh no, the devil says, that's not acceptable. I'm sorry. You think you can just walk away like that? Ha! I'm always there. I'm always there in the background. That's what I'm sensing, okay? So don't be scared, because you basically got them like this. All right, let's have a look. All right, so let's have a look. So you've been up till midnight with deadlines all week. Let's have a look. Here's the situation. Okay, two huge, powerful cards here. Some people think these are the scariest cards in the deck. Look at that. There's the devil card. There's the death card. So with the death card, this is very much about plutonic energy, the energy of transformational healing. It's very much associated with Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer type energies. Very, very like emotional, psychic type energy, where it might be actually that this is referring to the phenomenon that happens when you focus your energy on your clients, for example, or when you're in the courtroom, like lawsuits and things like that. To me, in its highest expression, this death card is all about transformational energy healing. Okay? Now, please let's not be shocked. Who knows? Maybe we'll get the Tower card here. That's the other one that scares people. Well, that's one of the others. Anyway, so let's just call this transformation. In other words, we could call it like a chrysalis. You know, there's the caterpillar, goes through the chrysalis, becomes the butterfly. The butterfly doesn't know that it was ever a chrysalis or ever a caterpillar. The caterpillar doesn't know that it's going to become a chrysalis or even a butterfly at that point. And the chrysalis has no idea that it was a caterpillar or that it's going to become a butterfly. And Love Triber told me something the other day. What was it? Without change, there would be no butterflies. Yes, that was it. I think that was it. Without change, there would be no butterflies. So if you translate the word change into transformation. So the death card here is like, to me it feels like it's transformation. So it's about the application of energy that takes energy in one form, transforms it into something else. And it feels to me that this is kind of what you're doing or what you're having to do with this, perhaps this lawsuits, all these deadlines and things. And sometimes with transformational energy healing, the transformer changes as much as that which is transformed, you know? So, yeah, don't be scared. So, the thing is, with the death card, is that you can't get from A to B without going through the chrysalis. And the chrysalis is kind of the weird, scary part, because it becomes like this invisible chapter where you can't actually see what's happening. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some amazing videos out there, like time-lapse videos, where they can somehow or other see inside the chrysalis, where they can see the caterpillar transforming and changing into the butterfly. I know that it happens because I've seen it when I was a kid. Caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. But I would love to see what goes on inside the chrysalis, because that's what I think we're talking about here. You're acting as the chrysalis, where the actual transformation occurs. And as a practicing attorney, I guess if you're still in the courthouse, you've still got clients and lawsuits and all that stuff, you're acting as the chrysalis. You're acting as the transformer. In other words, clients, energy, situations arrive in your life, in your world, on your desk. They go through the chrysalis and the courtroom and the transformational process, and it comes out the other side. Hopefully with healing. For example, redemption would be a really cool thing. Let's say you're successful in the lawsuits and the deadlines and so on. It's a very healing phenomenon for the recipient of your ability to transform energy. This is the energy of the transformer. Like if you put yourself here, then you are the transformer. Okay? You are ushering in an existing form of energy, taking it through a very mystical, frightening, bizarre, terrifying, incomprehensible phenomenon process to come out the other side in a sort of new, slightly distant, healing environment full of light and sun and glory. And it can't happen without the transformer. It can't happen without going through the chrysalis. Looks to me like you are the chrysalis. Let's have a look. What are the challenges here? Okay. Let's hopefully it works out financially, because if it's a job, if it's a day job, there's a difference between how different people see money in different ways, like career. Some people get into a career just to get the money. Like, say you're really, really smart. Oh, I could be a space engineer. Oh, I could be a dentist. Oh, I could be a stock trader. Oh, whatever it is. I don't know which one I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of those. It doesn't really matter, just as long as I make a lot of money. That's not what I'm sensing here. What I'm sensing is that you can't help yourself. You are just you being you. And it sometimes does involve huge amounts of money. But where does that balance out for you in person? Because you may not be directly motivated like what I just described. In other words, some people, like I have a relative, a young nephew, who's a very successful attorney, who's getting married to a successful attorneyess. And they make a buttload of money, because they transform people's lives and situations in their field of work. And one of the motivations for my nephew was the money. Like, he thought, well, if I am that smart and I can do this stuff, it seems to be a really cool thing to do, and I actually kind of enjoy it. And why not? I might as well just perfect this and make a lot of money at the same time. Cool. But my feeling is that you're not directly motivated by the money. So you end up in a situation like, God, man, I got to do all this work. I'm a transformer. I'm a transformational energy healer. I am the chrysalis. Like, geez, I hope I freaking get paid. I hope I come out of this okay. Because I got a life to live. I got bills to pay, just like everybody else. It would be nice to stabilize my life and have some financial, longer-term security. All right, let's have a look. So how do we manage this energy going forward? Ah, ha, 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 ha. I got the King of Cups here. I could not have predicted this, but I resonated very strongly the moment I saw this. Why and how? I will tell you. My feeling is, in order to move forward, there's no point in stressing about the money. There's no point in stressing about whether you're going to relapse into a world of, bondage to something or something, whatever. A lifestyle, a person, a situation, an ambition, whatever it is. So they don't have to have a hold on you. And instead, you do like what we've talked. I think we talked about this very, very deep in depth a few years ago. Like, excuse me, being who you are and doing what you do doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the biggest, best credentials, the most awards, the most certificates, the biggest profile, the biggest name in the business. It's more about you operating from the most powerful energy field of all, which is the healing power of love, and making that your absolute essence, the energy into which you tap in order to be who you are and do what you have to do. So in other words, it isn't all about like being legally smarter than anybody else. It's more about having a very big heart and being willing to share that much compassion and healing power of love with those who deserve it in order to protect the ones who can't protect themselves and hopefully, make some balance out when it comes to things like money, especially if it's in a legal situation. So going forward with the King of Cups here, to me it feels like this is a reminder. Do not ever forget that you embody the King of Cups. Okay, so it's going forward. It's like, notice that it's not the King of Swords. It's not the King of Wands. You don't have to be the smartest guy. You don't have to be the most enigmatic, dominating, powerful leader type. You don't have to be a master of financial wizardry. You have to come from the heart, okay? Where the head is the servant of the heart, where all your skills, talents, resources in terms of being a transformer, the chrysalis, the transformational energy healer are channeled into here, expressed as the King of Cups, where you have the magnanimity, the generosity, and the capability and the abundance of the healing power of love to actually bring that into the situation itself. And that's where, in a way, that's where the real power lies anyway. And nobody can take that from you. So there's your mini reading. I hope that worked out okay. I hope it makes some kind of sense to you and you can reinterpret in your own mystical, magical way. Everybody needs to know. Might as well let everybody know. No offense, but Gregory is definitely a reader himself in his own way. But it's good to get, reflection and feedback. That's why people come to this show, I guess. It's like a little spiritual tune-up. A lot of the times when I use this situational spread, it's like a diagnostic tool. I use them a lot on the car. And it's a way to figure out what the hell is going on. Because if you don't know what the problem is, you can't fix it. That's why I say you got to reveal it to heal it. And that's very much to do with the healing power of love at the depth of your soul. You got to figure out. And a lot of times you can't do what we do here at places like your doctor, your psychiatrist, your therapist, your friend, your family, your books, your own studies, your own readings on yourself. So you end up coming over here getting a mini reading. All right, let's have a look. We're going to shuffle it up and then we're going to read for Tina. All right, let's have a look over here. We've got a lot of shuffling to do. Over here. Hi Tina, hope you're well. Hope you're holding together, you and your furry friends. Being all cozy. Your new abode. Life-changing events and all of that good stuff. Thanks for visiting, of course. Gosh, we've been here, most of us have been here for years now. Literally years and years and years. And we're still going. All right, let's see what we've got here. Excuse me. All right. What kind of messages do we have here tonight for Tina? Let's have a look. I got bits of paper and devices and gadgets all around me. It's crazy. I like things to be very simple, neat, clean, tidy, minimal. Even if they're very complex. But I am an artist and a writer and a musician by nature, so sometimes things get very messy. I call it fuzzy on the edges. But right now, it's back to basics. Cards are well shuffled. Thank you, Tina. Here we go. This will be the last reading of the evening. Thank you, wherever you are in the world. It's been a pleasure to be with you all. And we'll do this again. But right now, we're going to read for Tina Miller. Okay, let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have for Tina tonight? Gather in. Invite your invisible friends, your archangels, your guardians, your pets from the beyond, your loved ones from the beyond, loved ones from past lives, loved ones from this life, and who knows, even the future. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. Let's have a look, see what's happening out there. So we have the... Well, what do you know? Okay. Let's just put this over here. Tuck it in over here a minute. I'm gonna make some room here. All right, so Tina, you've got the star card here. So obviously, I guess I'm going to say this is going back to the astrology. We're amplifying from what we talked about earlier with Elizabeth. And I don't sense that much difference in the tone and the energy and the feel of the card for you, in that it feels like, don't forget that you are a living example of hope. And it's really, really important, because sometimes, like, someone's got to do it, all right? Like, even if in your new life, your new world that's unfolding around you, as you start to, put down these new roots and have these new ways of life and make these new parameters and sort of codes of how you're going to live life and move forward and all of that kind of stuff. You have gone through some very scary shenanigans and chicanery along the way, which could have been very, very painful and easily left you feeling hopeless. Basically absent of hope, where life becomes like this hollow series of empty events that have no joy. There's no ups, there's no downs. Everything is SHIT all the time, and people give up. And it does happen, when people reach a level of hopelessness. And that can be learned, and that can be conditioned and trained into people, where they actually give up whatever it might be, their freedom, their joy, their desires, their ambitions, their goals. And that happens a lot in countries. It's very sad, but hopelessness exists in countries where the elites have completely, utterly destroyed and exploited the masses for the benefit of the elites. And a lot of the masses walk around in complete hopelessness. They're like zombies, like the Walking Dead. Yes, they will get up, they'll go to this, do that, rummage for food, rummage for survival or whatever. But deep inside, they know they're like zombies. And it's very, very difficult for them to maintain or even discover what hope is. They already know that they're like doomed from the beginning. It's not always that way. Some people, even in the most apparently hopeless situations, find a way to resonate joy and hope from the inside, and that becomes an extremely valuable commodity for the people who are close to that person who does naturally resonate the energy of hope. So okay, let me go back over here. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Again, remind yourself, like we talked about with Elizabeth, just remind yourself that you're actually a living example of hope, because it could have been, things didn't have to turn out certain ways. Things could have got a lot worse, and that tends to happen when people lose hope. Things just degenerate and degrade rapidly. But that's not you. And so you end up in a new version of yourself, which is being recalibrated, and inside that there's a little tiny kernel of hope that is just, it's simmering there. It's just there. And it's like a beacon. It's like a lighthouse beacon, a beacon of hope. It's nice to have that pulsing energy inside you. Even if you're not aware of it all the time, this is a reminder that it is there inside of you. It exists, you own it, you have it, you've earned it, you deserve it. Let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay. King of Swords here. Okay, so I can't remember the details, but as far as I recall, they're going through a lot of complex legal issues right now. And it looks to me that it's very important that you stay on top of this thing and maintain the authority. It's not self-respect. It's more about it's about maintaining your rights. Your rights. Okay? Maintaining your rights to who you are and what you deserve. Against all odds. You have every right to be you, whatever that looks like and how that's unfolding. Legal, financial, domestic, relationships, all of that stuff. With the King of Swords here, this is to me, it's like a reminder that you have to maintain this posture of supreme, indestructible dignity, strength, authority, truth, and justice. Sometimes against all odds, but sometimes just as a reminder to awkward situations, okay? It's a very strong male energy, but all of us, we have combinations of masculine and feminine energy that we can tap into at any time. Like some men can be very compassionate and loving and caring. Some women can be very, very strong, capable, and very much like executives at getting stuff done. All right? Doing what has to be done and getting it done. Succeeding in getting things done. All right, so what are the challenges here? Okay. Okay, it looks to me like in the short run, it doesn't exactly feel like happiness in the full sense. It's like because you're having to maintain the aura of hope, you might feel it internally as that, well, I don't have the 100% happiness that I actually deserve because I'm actually radiating hope. And radiating hope as a dominant energy has an indirect implication that I'm hoping that I can have all of this and be all of this because I don't feel like I have it right now, but I maintain hope anyway. But in order for me to tap into this, which would be my natural state of abundance, God-given divine abundance, happiness, serenity, contentment, means you have to go through this and be this for now. So it's a little bit frustrating. It's like, you know this is there. You've already had a taste of this. You know what it's like to be happy. In very, very pure terms. This is a form of happiness that nobody can steal from you. Nobody, nothing. No matter what's going on, diseases, finance, sucky relationships, whatever it is, you still would own this. But it might feel as though you're missing this at the moment. And the reason you might be missing it, because you already know what this is like. It's wonderful to be happy. It's wonderful to feel good. It feels good to feel good. And then that ends up as a positive feedback loop. That energy feeds on itself. But right now it makes me feel as though, oh, I wish. All right, so how are we going to move forward here? Okay. Okay, this is what I'm thinking of as the salesman card. This is the Six of Wands. The way forward, I haven't done this one a lot. I haven't seen this one a lot recently, but you know how these readings go through cycles and chapters, and just like this channel has gone through different chapters and iterations and segments and history. So with the Six of Wands here, it's like Okay, I'm just going to go over here. Stay there, Tina. Hold on. Okay, so going forward, let's take that energy of the King of Swords. It's not necessarily what I'm sensing is a very comfortable energy for you. So it's like, I'm doing what I have to get done. I have to get done what needs to be done, so I'm doing it. And it's going to be done right. Okay? Otherwise, I don't get my happiness. Where's my happiness? I deserve my happiness. I'm living off hope right now, but I know I deserve happiness. I want it. I'm going to get it. I deserve it. But sometimes, when you're living on hope, if it diminishes for a while, it's just like, oh my God, am I going to win? Am I going to succeed or anything? Okay. So, with the Six of Wands, it's the energy of, I think, what they call assuming the win. Okay? Years and years ago, I was reading some self-help books. I used to go to the mystical bookstore and libraries all the time. I'd love to pull out all sorts of books, whatever interests me at that moment. And one of them was one of these self-help books, how to make it, how to succeed at anything, whatever it was, the title was. It's one like how to tap into your most awesome self or whatever. But one of them was really specific. It's how to be like a successful salesman against apparent all odds against you. And so I thought, well, this looks interesting. And it was sort of like a psychological secret Bible to how to train a salesperson to succeed in any circumstance. And it was kind of an eye-opener of a book. The way that I'm trying to describe it is almost like, you know, the mythology about used car salesperson. You know, there you are, you're wandering around thinking, God, man, I could do with a new car. So you start driving around looking at the lots. You go online. Oh, I like that one. It's cute. And then you go inside. You know you're going to be attacked by a salesperson. And some people are very innocent about the process. They don't understand the phenomenon and the process of buying and selling cars. It's an art form. But the really successful salespeople, apparently they adopt this kind of what is it? It's like a state of mind. It's called assuming the win. And it doesn't always work. A lot of salespeople, they know they're going to not have anything within a few minutes. You're going to go up to them and say, well, I was just looking. I just wanted to look. Can I just look inside? Oh, do you give test drives? Oh, do you have it in black? Things like that. And the salesman is thinking like, oh, yes. But also the salesman is thinking like, am I actually going to put any time or effort into this particular customer? Nah. And so they'll just sort of go, oh, okay, sure, yeah. Well, let me introduce you to my friend over here, your associate. They'll take good care of you, okay? Thank you very much. And the lead boss salesperson will just kind of go off and do something else, have a cup of coffee. But when a real customer comes in, the lead salesman can smell it, like he can see it across the car lot. Oh, he sees the other salesperson working it with the other person. And eventually they play these games together. But anyway, the philosophy of the most successful salesperson is based on assuming the win. They carry themselves into the conversation, into the meetup and the chit-chat and the sales pitch with the customer, believing and assuming that they've already closed the deal. Just assume the win. I'm a natural winner. And that doesn't work every time, but they go in with that assumption. I'm going to win. That's what I do. I'm a used car salesman. That's who I am. That's what I do. Oh, the tires? Oh, they're perfect. They were brand new only 3 weeks ago. Okay? Oh, that weird clunking sound from the transmission? That's unique to this model. Oh, the mileage? 270,000 miles? That's nothing for this model. These cars, they do 500,000. Do you want to see? Come into my office. Let me show you some of my trophies. See, I did this, I did that. Some of my most happiest clients. These are the pictures, the photographs of my happiest clients and the fabulous cars that they bought from me. Anyway, I'm here to take care of you. Now, of course, we know it all comes down to the money. So anyway, they go in assuming the sale. And it's all theater. They know that there's going to be a threshold point where they're going to have to basically say, well, really it just comes down to this. Just sign here. Just sign here, okay? And then we're good to go. We'll worry about the numbers later. And then you go, oh, wait a minute. How much is it going to cost? Don't worry. We got it all. We can do everything in-house here. We got it all sorted out. Don't worry. I've got you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to hold your hand the whole way through. I want you to be another happy customer. And then he comes and gives you a big hug. And you feel all warm and fuzzy. You think, oh my God, I'm going to buy that car. And he's thinking inside his head, I got to offload this lemon as fast as possible. Anyway, I'm just dramatizing. But the theme here is assuming the win. So you go forward. It's like assuming the win. You have to advance, even though, like, when you look at a clock of your life and your future, you don't exactly know what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after. You might have a schedule for this, an appointment for that, but other stuff can happen, you know? And some of it's unknown, unpredictable. And that could be your life right now. You're living off hope, and that's great. You're having to exercise maximum skills and capability to get done what has to be done, knowing that in the background you feel a bit deprived of your natural happiness. But you know that you're deep down, you know damn well you're going to be okay, because you know that you have to get done what has to be done. And so you can go back to the mirror and say, I have a reason to live in hope, because I already know I'm going to be fine. I already know I'm a winner. I already know I've won. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you very much. You can stop. Calm down. You can stop applauding now. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I know I'm awesome. Yeah, it's great. Cheers. Thank you very much. And it's about knowing yourself. So if you have doubt, you know, you can go back to this mini reading, you know, over the next few weeks, few months or whatever. You could go back to this mini reading and remember, like, I can do that. I'm a natural winner. That's who I am. That's what I do. Even if inside you're like, God, I don't know if this is going to work or not. No. You got to radiate that aura. I'm fine. Not only am I fine, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to continue to be fine. I'm what's called a winner. Thank you. So that's what I'm sensing here. You don't have to dramatize it as much as I'm doing here, but go to sleep at night remembering to yourself that you're going to be okay. You're going to succeed. You're going to win. You will prevail. Okay? Thank you, Tina. So there's your mini reading. Thank you. Let's just shuffle it all up. I'm going to do that right now. Give me a second, folks. So let's have a look here. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Tina. I do hope you got something out of that. I had a big long rant at the beginning of the show, if anybody wants to see that stuff. Otherwise, we're completed. We've had 3 readings tonight. It was a pleasure to read for you all. Thank you so much. Thank you to Elizabeth, and Tina, and Gregory. Really appreciate your participation. Let's put it that way. So, I'm going to wrap out of here right now. We've been here, let's see. Wow. Man, I didn't know how long we'd go for these shows. It's crazy, really, when you think about it. Okay, I didn't get any more warnings from YouTube. I didn't get any screen lights, things lighting up on my screen from YouTube. So things feel fairly calm right now. I think what I'm going to do is play a little bit of music, wrap out gently, and let you all get on with your day. How am I going to do this? Hold on a second, because I've had some very serious issues about wrapping out and closing the shows, so it makes it very hard for me to time it properly. So, how am I going to do this? Okay. So if I shut that now, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself behind the software right now, trying to figure out the delays and why YouTube is... Anyway, it does affect the way the stream plays out on your end, so I'm trying to mitigate the problem in such a way that the show just doesn't suddenly stop in the middle of something. So I'm going to keep an eye out here. Give me a second. How can I do this effectively in such a way that it's graceful and simple, and I can just say good night and goodbye? How can I do this? Cue it in with some music and go from there. Okay. Ba-ba-ba. I'm going to put on a little bit of a music tune, but I can't tell whether anyone's going to hear it or not because of the way things are working or not working.